Psycho Ripper. So we have a whole lot of donations. We have a $99.99 donation from Mott that simply says, "Who's awesome? You're awesome. You're awesome too, Mott. Thanks for the donation." We have a $20 anonymous donation. "Just glad I could watch the marathon live this year. Congrats to all the people involved in this great cause." We also have an anonymous $50 donation. "Got to watch the Omni finish with my 7-month-old son, and while he may not remember it, the moment was still epic. I always love the nostalgia these events bring back. Donation goes to Breath of the Wild." We also have a $100 donation from Attila the Pun. "What's a Chocobo's favorite game? Wark Souls. Afraid that's all I have to say for myself. Putting this towards Breath of the Wild." We also have a $120 donation from Chade Farsi. "I think Deckard Cain would understand the need to go fast. He's an acceptable casualty. Best of luck from a bunch of Diablo 2 fans in Australia." Okay, and now we're going to cut to a quick message from our charity partner, Doctors Without Borders, so we will be right back.
Doctors Without Borders, also known internationally by our French name Médecins Sans Frontières, or MSF, is an independent medical humanitarian organization. Founded in 1971, MSF won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1999. Today we have some 33,000 staff on the ground in roughly 70 countries. We work in communities affected by war, natural disasters, disease outbreaks, chronic neglect, and other crises. We treat people based on medical needs alone, regardless of race, religion, or political affiliation. On any given day, we assist patients who have no other access to healthcare services. Our medical teams can offer critical services such as surgery, maternal care, vaccinations, and mental health counseling. When people are forced from their homes, we focus on treating illnesses and injuries. We work to prevent disease outbreaks in refugee camps and other settlements. We treat malnutrition and the consequences of sexual violence. Our advocacy message is always the same. People at risk should be able to access health care, and medical workers, even in active conflict zones, must be able to provide it. And life-saving medicines and vaccines must be affordable and accessible to the people who need them most. The ongoing support of our donors, together with the profound commitment of our aid workers, will allow MSF to provide independent and impartial assistance to people in crises for a long time to come. We know that the future holds many challenges for people around the world, but we also know what's possible when we go where we're most needed with the materials we need to deliver life-saving medical care.
Thank you again to Doctors Without Borders for partnering up with us at Games Done Quick for this awesome event. We have a whole lot more donations. So we have a $60 anonymous donation that says, "Greetings from the Vikings of Norway. Odin's blessing upon the warriors of speed and the blessings of Freyr upon the vault of donations." Also, quick updates on some of our donation incentives. For the Dark Souls bonus game, we are currently sitting at $44,769 out of $50,000. So we're super close to that. And Breath of the Wild, we are at $28,292 out of $100,000. So definitely get those donations in. And now we're going to throw it over to the run of SUPERHOT with bullets.
All right, we're gonna just get started right away in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So I'm gonna let the couch handle things for a little bit while I focus on the first few levels because they're a little bit difficult.
All right. Do you want to do a quick roll call real quick?
Yep, that'd be good.
My name is Zick3. To my right.
Eric Squared.
Chrono.
Scrubloid.
So just to talk a little bit about SUPERHOT, it's a first-person shooter puzzle game where time only moves when you do. So you'll notice in these few first levels, he's just going to be jumping around, killing all the enemies in the level. And the reason he's jumping so much is it kind of confuses the AI. They don't really understand the jumping arcs, and they aim in weird directions when you jump.
It's also faster, too.
So this is the first skip of the run. All we're going to be doing is after we clear out these last couple enemies, when you kill the last enemy, it flags that you finished the level, so you can quit out and re-enter by mashing enter. It skips a dialogue box and a little bit of a cutscene that happens after a few levels. So we'll be doing that intermittently through the run. So this next level, you have to fire at a couple enemies that aren't even visible yet because their hitboxes are still there while they're spawning in, but they're invisible for like a quarter of a second. So you have to kind of get a feel for where they are and just practice a bunch for that. During this, you can kind of mash during that black screen, and it allows you to stun that enemy before the level starts. During this, I'm going to try to manipulate where the enemies spawn by staying closer to this side, though this guy decided to spawn for some reason. But for the most part, that went pretty well. You can kind of figure out where they're going to, or you can kind of aim where they're going to be. There's a bit of a visual cue for that. So this is the only level in the game where you don't have a gun, or there's no guns on it. What I try to do during that is swap the bat once, because you can only hit 4 people with it before it'll break. So you have to, during that level, switch it out. So this is the second weapon they introduced in the game. Shotgun's really, sometimes when you stomp that enemy, that guy shoots really quickly. Shotguns are really good for enemies, as you can see. But when you have it, the spread is randomized, so I do have a chance of just completely missing who I'm aiming for through no fault of my own. And for some reason, also shotguns in this game have a chance of, even though they're double-barreled, having 3 shots in them. For whatever reason, I don't know where the other shot is. This level is the first of a few that have enemies that spawn with random weapons, which makes their movement also very random. It's like that level went really, really well because
That went really well.
they all spawn with katanas, so they just run straight towards you. But like they could have all had shotguns as well. So I want to stomp
nice
on
head
this.
stomp.
There's the gun. This is the last weapon in the game. It's an assault rifle. It shoots in bursts of 3. It has a lot more ammo than the other few guns, though it burns through it very quickly. But the game's very simple. It's only got 3 weapons to it, and then just melee weapons for the most part. So again, we quit out of that level early to skip a bit of a cutscene that happens afterwards. The game's going to have us input a little bit of text here. For some reason, the game lets you move your mouse in circles and input text for whatever reason, instead of using keyboard. It's a strange little thing, and it lets you do it a tiny bit quicker. Yep. So during this level, I'm going to try to get the enemies to stack up on these little corridors here so that I can shoot them, though, like I said before, with how shotguns are, sometimes that doesn't work out very well. This last guy over there spawns behind you after you kill all but 1 enemy, so you can kind of use it as a cue of how many people are left. After we quit out of this, it's going to bring us to the first of 3 dog levels, which are sort of tutorial story levels. So this is a good time for 2 donations.
Perfect, because we actually have a couple dev donations. We have a $40 donation from Nuclear Friend that says, "Thanks for checking out the Mater D. Awesome to contribute to a great cause, and go SGDQ. Love the devs." And then we also have a $66.60 donation from David Oshry, who said, "Thanks for breaking our game. Keep up the good work. Rise of the Triad 2 confirmed?"
So this is probably the hardest level in the game, speedrun-wise.
Oh,
So you have to rely on the beginning on a shotgun, and like I said before, wow, that was weird. That guy fired right as he died, so he clipped me as I was going around that corner. So you have to shoot through this glass while there's text on your screen, which gets rid of your crosshair. And the glass sometimes will shatter in a way where the guy is basically invisible behind it. So it's a lot of things just in the beginning that are making this difficult. And then afterwards, you have enemies that randomly spawn. And if you let them kind of get out of control like this, they will just start grouping up and making things very difficult for you.
that was pretty hectic, so you recovered pretty well.
So this is Donut. It's more of a square, but it's more fun.
You'll notice in a lot of these levels he's throwing his weapon when he runs out of ammo. That is because when you throw an object on an enemy, it stuns them and they can drop their weapon, so he can pick up a new weapon with ammo.
That was a good donut.
So afterwards, we have the second of 3 dog levels. This one's a lot quicker than the other one. This is the only required death in the run. You just go around a couple times and get shot near the end, and it'll let you go by. You're supposed to wait for that dialogue, though you can get shot a little bit earlier, but it's a bit risky if you go for it, because if you mess it up, you have to do the entire level again. So we're going to take this time to actually explain the next level, because it's about 5 or 7 seconds long, and it's very, very complicated. Elevator starts with 3 enemies that are have pistols that are all around you. You need to kill 2 of 3 of them, and then the doors will open. There's the guy with the shotgun. So what I'm going to do is bait that guy into shooting his friend, and then while that guy's going to get the weapon, I'm going to shoot him and then shoot the 2 enemies. And that level takes a very long time casually, but for the speedrun, it's about like 5 or 7 seconds. So this is the last dog level. Mostly all I'm doing during this is just mashing left click and escape. The screen's going to flash a little bit, so if you are sensitive to that sort of thing, I would say look away for 30 seconds, but this is a good time for like 3 donations.
Okay, we have a $250 donation from Ian Boswell. SUPERHOT is the most innovative shooter I've played in years. We also have a $50 donation from Casper Rasmussen. Thank you, just thank you all. And we have a $50 donation from Abraham Lincoln. Wait, a Breath of the Wild speedrun? Shut up and take my rupees.
So during this section, it's just, this is one of the only required text boxes in the game. It's basically you communicating with, the plot of the game is that it's a game within a game. So you get a cracked copy of SUPERHOT.exe and the game's talking to you and it's telling you not to play it. It's interesting. So just during this, we're going through text quickly, and it's telling us not to play SUPERHOT.exe again, but we've already opened it actually, because we've mashed enter before this. So we're technically not going against what it said, but we kind of are, I guess, a little bit. But afterwards, we go into the last few levels of the first half of the game. This level, the main difficulty for this is this one shot right here where you have to shoot a guy that is completely invisible, and if you miss him, he has an assault rifle, and he will, wow, okay, well, let's do it again. If I could do it twice. There we go.
Nice.
And then after that, stairs are a bit weird to walk up during this, so I keep trying to jump up them the right way. Then after this, we have one more kind of hectic level to do. I want to get this guy to shoot him. Oh, he shot right by him. That's all right. The best way to do that is you have the guy in the back shoot this guy, and then you shoot the person to the right, and it all kind of works itself out. So this guy right here, for some reason, he won't go past his line, so he'll just dance around. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to strafe into this corner, and I'm trying to... When I'm strafing into corners, the game plays it real time instead of like slowing down like it's supposed to. So I intentionally strafe there so that I can have enemies move forward and kind of get packed in that hole. I usually have a shotgun there, but things kind of went strangely, so they ended up having to throw that away. So this is the last level, the first half of the game. All this is just bunny hopping all the way to the end and punching yourself, because this game is a bit strange. Kind kind of get a jump off that siding right there. And what we're going to do after this is we're going to wait to hear an audio cue, and then we're going to quit out and re-enter the game quickly. Once that goes off, you can quit out, reopen. And so what happens during that section is, what you're supposed to do is there's an entire dialog box that goes through, and it's telling you to stop playing the game. And this time, if you try re-entering it, it'll blur out the SUPERHOT.exe option, and it'll blur out every option but quit for the most part. So it's just faster for us. The instant it flags that we've finished the first half, that we can go on to the next part, it's better for us just to leave then and just save time. So after this part of the game, we get an ability called hot switching, and it's a mechanic where we can, as the name kind of gives away, you switch into the body of one of the enemies. It does have a cooldown that goes in game time, so we have it kind of routed through the levels of how to use it. The only real disadvantages of it are that the enemies know instantly that you've swapped into this new body, so they'll instantly try to go after you and kill you. And when you switch into somebody, they'll throw their weapon away and it'll shatter. So you have to kind of scourge your weapon. But this is a good time for another 3 donations, probably.
Awesome. We have a $150 donation from Adam190. This goes to Dark Souls Kiln Skip. Praise the sun. We also have a $100 donation from Mike Catastrophe that simply says, "Gotta go fast." And we have a $50 donation from Valitix. At first I wanted to donate when Super Mario 64, my favorite game of all time, is coming up, but I really want to see Dark Souls and Zelda Breath of the Wild, so make that happen, guys. Greetings from Austria.
So you mash fast enough here. For some reason, it sounds like hot soup instead of super hot. Technically, if you play this game fast enough, you'll never actually hear the game say super hot, because you leave the level right before it says it, and it's... so that was hot switching right at the beginning there. It kind of forces you to use it the first couple levels to teach you the mechanic, but then after that, we have to kind of route it in less obvious ways.
Now you notice when you use this hot switching that there will be these fuzzy bars at the top and bottom of the screen that denotes when you can use hot switching again.
Yeah, there'll be less and less bars up there, and then when they go away completely like there, I was trying to switch right into him before he got me.
You just wanted to show us my favorite red morph suit guy again, huh?
Yes, this is the only enemy in the game, for whatever reason, that has a shovel, so he's Shovel Knight. I don't know why, but anyways. So the next level is probably, so Elevator and Hospital from before are one of the top 3 hardest. This is probably the last of the 3 hardest levels, just because there's a lot of really tight corners around. You can turn a corner and like instantly die if you're not paying attention. That's not good.
Ooh.
They're moving a little bit strangely.
Oh, yeah.
It was nice of him to wait patiently there and watch me try to shoot everyone else before he killed me. So we just need to be very careful around that corner. Another bad thing about this strategy is you have to kind of rely on shotgun right there.
Yeah, you can tell how the burst from the shotgun can be really sporadic at times.
So I'm going to turn to the side there. Something I haven't mentioned yet is that your hitbox in this game tends to be very, very wide, but it's very thin as well. So if you turn to the side quickly when bullets are going towards you, there's a good chance you can actually avoid them. So in cases where you're in a bad situation like that, you can try to recover it by turning quickly to the side, letting the bullets go by, and then turning back to shoot them. The only downside, obviously, is you're looking away from the enemy now, so it's really difficult to deal with that sort of situation. So what's coming up now is, like I mentioned before, you throw away your weapon, or you throw away the enemy's weapon when you switch into them, but you can get around that by grabbing a throwable item and hitting them with it. And the instant it hits them, you can switch into them, and their weapon will actually be like floating like an inch away from their face, and then you can just grab it like that and use it, which is really good for that level because there's no weapons except for the ones the enemies have, so it's really difficult to just like run up and try to deal with them normally. And then we just use it again there, so we can shoot the guy in the front and switch to the guy in the back. You can actually shoot yourself if you shoot at someone and then switch into them, so you have to be a little bit careful with that so you don't panic.
I've lost a couple runs to that.
So what we have to do now is rely on more shotguns, because that's fun. So you can either have both these guys die or neither of them die. I think it missed all of them. Only one. That's all right. Like I said before, the hitbox is very wide, so even though I was sitting behind cover there, it still ended up hitting me. Also, these enemies, for some reason, they have really weird hitboxes. Like there's almost like some invisible wall in front of them or something like that. So at some points, it's a little bit difficult to hit them in the back of the train. So we're getting near to the end part of the game. We have a difficult jump at the beginning of this level with this. It's difficult because it's hard to practice it. That one right there.
Head stomp.
Because if you die on this level, it actually opens differently. That guy will move in a different way. So you can only practice it once, and then you'd have to like quit out and reopen it, so it's a bit difficult to grind out attempts of it. That went pretty well.
You notice at the beginning, he kind of stayed there at the beginning to snipe that one guy far off in the room. That was because certain enemies spawn after so many died, and he wanted to kind of alter where enemies would spawn when he would be at certain points in the room.
This is the last sort of traditional level in the game where the goal is to kill all the enemies. After this, there's a few different sorts of those. That's unfortunate. This strat with the katana at the very beginning is a bit difficult because you have to rush towards this guy. And the range for the katana is a bit unclear at times.
Yeah, it's pretty wonky hitting the.
But you can slash people
with the
through
katana.
corners and walls with this, so. All right, cool. And then once you kill all the enemies, these three spawn, but I know where they spawn, so it's really easy to deal with them. So after this point, we have a really fun and difficult level called Long Way, where you have to do frame-perfect bunny hops down a hallway. But what happens afterwards is that there's the final boss of the game, which, after fighting a bunch of red dudes and pretty much that being the only enemy of the game, we get a fun boss where it is a giant red pyramid. I don't know why, you know. It's interesting. But the mechanic of the boss, I guess, if you want to call it that, is that you need to hot switch into this giant red pyramid. And each time you switch into it, it kicks you out. There's 4 phases to it. And each time it kicks you out, it takes longer to recharge your hot switch, and more enemies spawn, so it gets progressively more difficult. This is a level where casually you can spend like half an hour to an hour doing this because it's very difficult. So in the speedrun, we do some interesting things to avoid some of the danger, though there's a few dangerous points where you have to navigate around like 5 or 6 enemies at the same time. So I'm just mashing enter to quickly clear that. So I've already switched into the core once. What I'm going to do now is go off into a corner here so that I can strafe into it. And when I'm strafing into it, game time goes at real time, which is what hot switch recharges by, so we can quickly get it back. And none of the enemies will get to me fast enough where I'm in danger there. So this is the hardest phase. I need to jump on top of it, actually, and jump over top all of these enemies. And if you do it quick enough, they won't be able to shoot you. It's a bullet right here that almost hit me. I'm strafing into this left wall so that the game's actually going at real time. If you look at the enemies, they're not moving. But they're moving at real time at this point. So I go up there because it's safest. You're actually meant to go up there because there's a secret up there. But you can use it to make this level a lot easier than it normally would be. I just grab a wrench there because it lets me stun the enemy that spawns. That enemy can spawn with any range of weapons, so it's better just to grab that and hit him as you go by. But that is the last of the 4 phases. Afterwards, you become the giant red pyramid, and you get infinite hot switching. So whenever you look at somebody, you just switch instantly into them. But if you take too long to switch into somebody else afterwards, it'll send you back to it. So there is a 1 cycle where you don't stop moving. So it is challenging at times. So I have to avoid going to that guy because I want to jump across here. And that's the last one.
Nice.
Yep, got it.
Nice job.
So that's basically it for the run. At this point, I just want to shout out some of the SUPERHOT community members. Ellie, Loksu, I'm going to blank on people now. Disco, Rumbler, Hunter, Weasel, all the people in the SUPERHOT Discord. definitely I would recommend, if you've been watching this entire week and if you've seen runs, like if you've enjoyed watching this run, or you've enjoyed watching any runs, I'd recommend looking and trying to pick up any sort of games and just giving them a go, because it's a lot of fun. Like I only started speedrunning just a year ago when I started watching GDQs, so definitely don't think that you can't just pick up a game. Just the community for any of the games, especially ours, we have a Discord in the our speedrun.com forums, so just everyone's really friendly and open to teaching you new stuff about any sort of run, so definitely don't hesitate trying to do that. Time's going to be in like about 5 seconds when I shoot. And time. Thanks a lot. I pretty much got everything before the run ended, so that's it for me. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy Titan Souls.
I'm not running.
Titanfall 2 afterwards. It's a lot of fun. You guys will enjoy it.
Yeah, that was a great run of Super Hot from Bullets. We have a quick message from